Yo, how you guys doing? This is James Eugene, and I'm here with my brother.
What's going on, y'all? Nick here.
So we've got a banger of a video. Today's discussion is about 50-50. Should men pay 50-50 in 2026?
Mm-hmm.
Roll the footage, Nick.
Right.
Joe has shared a view in his questionnaire. The first date should be 50-50. It removes obligation and performance. It's not about being cheap. It's about neutralizing expectations. Nobody owes anyone anything, not another date, not attention, not energy. It's just two people seeing if there's a vibe. Joe, would you like to elaborate?
Elaborate,
Sure.
Joe.
I mean, that
I
was
agree.
a longer sentence than I think I said, but I just think in an ideal world, we're trying to move towards equality on all levels, right? And I think if you start a relationship with someone with one person owing the other person, even something as small as dinner, it has to come out somewhere along the line in the relationship. That expectation has to be balanced out some way. And I just think it's crazy to expect someone you don't know to already owe you something, because then they're going to expect you to owe them something back. I just think it starts things off on a weird foot. And I think that there's no other relationship in your life. Like if you were meeting a new friend, there's no other situation in which you would expect the other person to pay for you or you would be expected to pay for them.
But the dynamic is different.
Piggybacking off of what she said, the dynamics are different, but I do believe that a man actually paying for the first date, it does set the tone for how the relationship is to be led if she is a woman that's going to be able to listen and follow to his leadership. But in that same breath, I do understand that a lot of women today aren't traditional women anymore. And in the same breath, I understand that women's standards are way too high for the average man today. I think that they should be more simplistic. I don't think it should be off the charts. You have to find out first if the person is actually worthy for you spending money on before you start dishing it out, because people do not appreciate what is just given to them. They appreciate it when it's actually earned.
It is.
So, real quick, bro, what's your thoughts on that? Because me personally, 50-50 is a very interesting conversation because I was told that if you initiate the date, you should pay for it. Now, I'm not opposed to that because I mean, in theory, like the person was chilling, right? They wasn't gonna go nowhere. You the one that invited them. So okay, pay for the date. But now I think it gets really the lines get blurred because what if the woman is saying that she wants to see you, right? Like what if she's the one that initiated the interaction, and at that point in time, what takes place? The man, is he still obligated to pay? No, what's your thoughts, bro?
That's a good question. Like, but we haven't made that into official rule yet. It's not like a traditional norm where whoever asks whoever asks the person on a date is the one that pays. It's not really like a norm, right? It's not like an unspoken rule. It's nice in theory, but majority of women still want, for the man to pay on the first date.
Yeah.
It's different, but I think it should start from as neutral a place as possible.
Yep. Both genders. Like if I date a woman, like who's gonna do that? You know, it's like, what's the reasoning behind the man only? The only reason I would say is because of the gender reparations. That's the only way
Gender
that I would like.
Hey, you know what's so funny about this though? That's a good point. Like I'm not even advocating for same sex. Y'all do whatever y'all want to do. But that's a good point. Like if two women now are dating each other, who ends up paying? Right? You see, so this is what I mean. Is like that's why
Whoever's manlier.
whoever's married, whoever got a stubble, right?
Exactly.
Man, I think honestly, if I invited you, I think it's just cordial, or I'm not cordial, but I think it's just honorable to look. I'm the one that initiated to invite you into my space, into my livelihood, my life experience. I'll expend the time to you know interact with you. I don't know.
What do you mean by
accept
gender
that
reparations?
What
there's
is
a pay gap. So I would be like, okay, there's a pay gap. So it's like you're giving back. So that's my only reasoning.
You should pay for dinner because
Yeah,
you
that's
get
the
paid
only
more in life.
reasoning of that. But I
What?
agree with that. Or
If you already got a mindset like that to say that something is based on gender reparations, I think you already cooked in the head. She's going to be difficult because she's already putting labels. Nobody's ever said anything about gender reparations. This is something that she came up with. She's going to have that preconceived notion in her head, and she's going to cook out her future situationships or relationships because nobody wants to hear that. Nobody goes into it thinking like that.
you talk about who makes more money, and then you can decide the splitting of, because women can make more money than the man. Does that mean the man needs to pay more? Like, and then I also don't agree, like, why? Like, it's literally like, why is the man paying? It's all a level of the patriarchy. And how do we dismantle that if we're like, how are women becoming equal if the man is still the one expected to make more money, expected to do the funds and stuff?
Michael, how would you respond to that? Being as you shared earlier that in a previous episode that you don't mind paying if you ask first on a date.
No, I don't mind paying.
This brother's introverted.
But elaborate, like in response to what she just said, she doesn't understand why men pay or why they're expected to pay.
I mean, that's, like you said, it was a gender norm.
Yeah, that is the reasoning.
In previous, like in history, men were naturally more of a provider. Like they would go out and get like hunter-gatherers to, like, we go out and hunt and then we bring back what we caught or whatever. So it's kind of like the same kind of situation. Like if we're making the money and we can afford to provide this dinner or etc., that we would just.
I don't think those are synonymous. To be honest,
hunter-gatherer.
And also there was women hunter and gatherers.
Yes, there were. There were.
Yeah.
Hold on now. When we go further back, we understand that the roles were.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the brother brought up a good point of how evolutionary processes created this dynamic now. Men were typically providers, so we provided the food, the resources for the woman. And then come to today, it's still the same expectation. This is why men continue to pay, because that's resources. He brought up a great example, and they said they don't think that's synonymous.
Right.
What?
And then more importantly, I think they ended up going into the outlier where there was women, hunter gatherers too. And it's like, I'm sure you can find a case for everything, but by and large, I mean, men went out. Are we gonna just ignore history all of a sudden? I mean, that's literally the Industrial Revolution. If women were always going out, then the Industrial Revolution, when the women started going to the workplace, would not be a thing. That would not be a phenomenon.
Facts.
Right?
Not only that, we still have hunter-gatherer societies today that's still alive, that's outlived many civilizations. And guess who do the hunting?
Yeah,
the men.
And I don't think that should be a knock. I don't know why. Like, why can't we just say what actually is without it having to be like a gender thing? Like, it's not a knock at women if you are at home. I mean, it's an honorable thing if you're taking care of children, right? There's no looking down upon you. That's why a lot of times when these talks about the patriarchy exist, it's always done in a light where it's as if the patriarchy were trying to demean women. And I just don't see that as a thing, but
broken down even heavier to where you had more men that were hunters, more women that were gatherers. Modern times now, both can do the exact same thing. But the thing about feminine women are leaving out the door. You see a lot of these young women, they preaching only equality. They want to be on the same level as a man. They don't even care about the dynamic of a man coming in and having the leadership skills to be the guy that's basically going to be the one that's trying to move their family to the future.
I am the existence of that. I'm just saying that, like, if there was a norm that was set up,
that's the reasoning, the patriarchy.
That's the reasoning why I'm okay paying if I can afford to pay.
I did want to go back to what Joa said in terms of when you do initially go on that first date. How do you propose that being the standard that you set? Then,
I want to know this.
Like, you go on the date,
that's so true.
And those are your beliefs or your ideals. How do you set that up for the other person to receive
you do that with
it?
your girlfriend?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay.
I truly don't remember.
No, that is a good question.
It was a while. It was a while ago. So I don't want to. I'm not saying I've definitely paid for.
Can I actually say something? I think this is. I don't know if this is where, because I didn't see this video,
Mhm.
But I want to present something. Perhaps this is why black women prefer Asian men. I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe because I think you saw the video, right? But like for
Yes,
me,
sir.
the man, the Asian man in particular, he's advocating for 50-50. And there
Mhm.
is no clap back to this Asian man whatsoever. But when the black
Mhm.
guy is saying, well, hey, he's just saying, I'll pay because I guess that's the norm. And it's all, though, I don't really agree. It's like all this visceral against this black dude. And mind you, he's not even being antagonistic. He's just like, hey, it is what it is. I don't mind paying for it. He's not even advocating for 50-50, really.
I'm glad you noticed that. I'm really
Yeah.
glad you noticed that because it's just like the brother is soft spoken. He's not even trying to fight. He's just like, hey man, this is what I just do. And they gave him lip. But this guy could stand on his 10 toes and say, I pay 50-50, and they're not even like pushing back at him. They're not even like, what you mean? You're not a real man. They're not saying none of those things.
Yeah. That's yeah, it's cool. All right, let's go.
Dates before.
Oh,
It's
for
not
sure.
like I'm not going to be a dick about it during the date. But the thing is that I generally think it's good advice that first dates need to be cheap to free. And I understand that some
Yes.
people
I agree.
disagree and some people, want a fancy date for the first time. But
No.
I think if someone is spending more than $50 on a
Yeah.
first date, that to me says you're kind of irresponsible.
Preach. This young Asian man is preaching, bro. You are irresponsible if you spending that much goddamn money, because especially if you don't know somebody. Now, if you know somebody and y'all done been talking to each other for a while and you happen to want to up the ante, okay. But if you are fresh, newly meeting someone, don't do it. It's goofy. I'm gonna have to question your character. When I hear guys say stuff like that, I gotta question his character as to how he handle his money, because he obviously don't care.
Because it means you don't know
Nick,
who the other person
Nick,
is, but you're
Nick.
still
Yeah.
Nick, bro, we gotta ask ourselves a serious question. Man said $50, anything over $50 is irresponsible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You think if a black man said, I'm taking you on a $50 date, the woman would actually go on a date with him? Bro, $50 is like going to like Chinese food or like Jamaican food. It's not no high-end restaurant.
No, it's not. And that means that the most, in theory, if I'm spending $50, that means I'm allocating at the most $20-ish to this woman to get her meal, because it's, I'm covering your meal, right? No, what you're saying is valid. And a lot of time when we talk like this, right, you can never paint a broad brush and talk about everybody, right? There's
Yes,
gonna
of
be
course.
girls, there's gonna be women that, they probably will accept the coffee date. Cool. But we're just talking about statistically and what we're presented with today. A lot of women will get offended if you try to like, look, I'm not trying to go over this amount.
$50 is actually reasonable. You could get movie tickets. You could go to the museum. You could
No,
go
we
to.
know that. I'm just saying from the side of the women. I don't like if you saying that I'm not trying to go over this amount, then if they start labeling you a brokey, oh, you're broke, you're a scrub, you're whatever the case may be, all because you're trying to be responsible with your money, that's the issue, right?
just based on their looks or whatever, you're deciding like, this is, I don't know who you are, but you're worth $50, which aside from the slightly demeaning aspect of it, it's also just like, you have no clue what is going to happen here.
Right.
Like, why do you think
irresponsible is hilarious?
I just think it's like financially.
That makes sense.
If it's a first date, you don't know who it is. You don't know who if you're going to connect, and you're already going to put down money.
Yeah.
It's like you're gambling before you even know what the card game is.
The Asians are logical.
I think it becomes a little bit more performative if it's a fancier date.
Well, yeah. Well, because I think a fancier date, you're not in a situation where you're trying to get to know the other person. You're in a situation where you're trying to show off for the other person.
Unless
or
they're
the other person wants, is trying to express that they want a certain kind of environment. But either way, the date no longer becomes about, okay, I want to get to know you and I want us to talk. It becomes about, all right, I want someone who's going to fill this kind of role, whether for the man or the woman.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think
That
the whole
is
thing becomes
so
more
real.
performative.
I've been on a date that was $250 was my first date.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
How was it?
$250.
Did it,
How was it?
It was
They paid for it, right?
Bruh. Let's continue.
Yeah, well, he was the real estate agent in my fancy building, so he could afford it. Like, it was like,
well, what if also
Sounds like the relationship didn't last. She just said he was the real estate agent in the building. He could afford it, but it sounds like that went nowhere. So that man just out $250. Granted, you can afford it, but why should I still do it if I know it's not going to lead me where I actually want to go? And you can tell her personality, she's going to push away a lot of guys. I could just see it in her.
well, they
It's
just make that much,
She's a walking contradiction.
like they make so much money where it's
Say that again.
She's a walking contradiction.
How
In
so?
in the beginning, she said, "Why should a man pay? Why should a man do this? Oh, we need to get rid of patriarchy." But you letting the man pay $250 for you. Think about that. You see what I'm saying? It's just like they fight against the things that actually benefits them because they want the benefits of patriarchy, but they don't want none of the responsibilities of it. They don't want none of the responsibilities of equalities, really. They don't. They just want to be treated equally, but still want the patriarchal blessings or the benefits.
like
that's his
paying
standard.
more than $50 is not that deep for them.
And
You know
it
how you
wasn't.
keep that money? You don't
You know
spend
what?
it
And
like
that's
crazy.
why I like people like you. I like people like you.
Yeah, like you see, I just want that same energy. Now, granted, the black man hasn't said anything, out his mouth that's similar to the Asian man. So we got to be objective from that standpoint. But like, if a black man said that, like, yo, I would just want to be responsible with my money. Will they say that? Will they like, oh man, I like people like you. I like, or they gonna label you, they're gonna start name calling, shaming you, guilt, all this stuff, right?
This brother gonna have a legit family.
Yeah. But then that was an
Financially-
expectation that I was the person that's always gonna, and he's the one that does that. And and that's what I'm not attracted to that.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
too.
so also like in the date.
Hold on, she said he was too much, but she actually appreciated the fact that he was willing to spend the $250. That makes no sense.
Feel like $250 expectations were set on you.
Like, did you feel pressure to like have to do anything because he spent so much money on you?
No.
No. Okay.
But maybe that's because I'm just so like, I will take my fist and shove it up you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which
So
hole?
maybe
He
it's
could have
just
wanted
me.
that. You don't know. They don't know
That
this
is
guy.
true.
That's why the date should be as low as possible.
Well, I don't think equality exists between men and women as much as we try. I mean, and this is not to say that I don't think women should have the same rights as men. That's not what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I'm just saying naturally, as women and as men, we're just different naturally,
Like there are
right?
different
Yes.
rules that still
Like
still exist.
women have babies and men don't have babies.
But
So
what
it's
does that
like,
have to do with money?
I'm just saying, like in general,
Mhm.
we're not the same.
No.
So it's like, and it doesn't mean that women shouldn't get paid as much as men. I'm just saying, because you had brought up the idea of like splitting on a first date, like it's kind of like we want equality between men and women, but then we're coming in and like the scale is kind
It's
of
already
imbalanced,
uneven.
right? But it's
It
like
is.
that's naturally
Wow.
always going to be the case because that's how relationships work, right?
For sure.
Like in the
This is no accountability on choice. The career that you in, the path that you chose in life, you can't keep blaming that to saying that men just always make more than women. You have to stay at job. You have to climb up ladders. You have to be built a certain way. Sometimes some of y'all don't fit in the roles that y'all actually in. And then sometimes y'all get into places where the money might not be as high. I know women that make a whole bunch of money at a lot of big companies. They had to learn how to play the game. Guess what? It's a lot of guys who never made it up that ladder as well because they don't know how to play the game. We can't still keep blaming it in the world today where women can get the exact same jobs as men. We can't keep using that as a talking point.
general cultural sense, like men are the hunters when it comes to like courting the woman. Men have to court the woman, right? So in that scenario, at least back then, right? It's usually like, what is it? Survival of the fittest. Whoever's the best man wins, right? So whoever's like putting their best foot forward. So it's like,
But that's not biology though.
how's that not biology?
No,
I
Because-
actually read something.
Yeah,
like
part of it is socialization, but it is
Yeah.
informed. What
Yeah.
you're saying is like,
Biology, like literally the ducks and the like
No.
animals, they be like,
but innately it's not biology that men are more assertive and women are more submissive. That's not a fact. And
well, I mean,
I don't
I didn't
think she
necessarily say that
understood. I don't think
women
she
are more
understood.
assertive versus-
but
I don't think she understood that men are the one that always pursue the women, and you can see that within the animal kingdom.
Mhm.
Like The birds are always flocking and dancing to attract the mate, right? We always see, some animals bring gifts towards the women,
Yeah.
right? Some animals have like huge amounts of territory for, and they literally, the men literally, you see two rams butting heads literally just to mate. Like we find this all the time in the animal kingdom. So she's right, but this whole idea that men are aggressive and women are submission, that point, she wasn't trying to make that point. She was just trying to say men naturally compete for women.
And naturally so, right? Because think about it. I mean, it's the women that have to endure pregnancy. So I mean, if they're gonna be out of commission now, it's for human in particular, they're out of commission for like 9 months, right? But
Yeah.
that's a huge investment biologically. So of course the man is gonna do the initial pursuing, right? I don't know why this is something that we even fight in. You know, like what do you expect as a woman that you have to endure pregnancy and you equally pursue the man, and while the guy could, go scot free and do whatever they want. I mean, if that's the case, then maybe that's the reason why there's all these pookies running around, right? Because there's no accountability. They don't got to do no pursuing. They just got to look good, knock you up, and then they go on to the next girl while leaving you with this burden financially, biologically.
What's so funny? Patriarchy actually prevented such nonsense, right? Because we had a code of ethics where you do get married to the woman and you was not obligated to leave her if you slept with her. We had a code of ethics that prevented this nonsense that we experience today.
Man.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, just
So I don't know the point she's trying to make, but men are built different. Once we hit puberty, the bone structure, the density of the bones, the muscle structure, way different. So that by and large, we're going to do different things when it comes down to how we manipulate the elements.
men, they usually are courting the woman.
Yeah,
Because of the
I kind of
patriarchy,
What would
though.
you?
No, I think I kind of agree. I, in that sense, do think that men should typically pay. I'm not opposed to paying. Like, I've paid for full dates. I've split the bill, even in the beginning of my relationship, all the way up to now. But in the first date, it's like, I do want to be courted or wooed a little bit. And that's not to say that I want someone to spend a lot. My first date was a day in New York, and we took the subway, we walked around, we got like a little bit of sushi that may have been, giving us a food poisoning, but it was fun. And we walked around Central Park.
Street sushi is crazy. I'm not mad at the cheap date that she's talking about.
Like, he showed me around New York because I just moved here,
Mm-hmm.
and that created a basis. And if we had met later, like if I was gonna meet someone new, like I wouldn't want a fancy date, but I would still want to be paid for at least the first date to be paid for. Again, with the caveat that I'm still willing to pay for other dates if the relationship continues.
I can appreciate that. I would like to say, though, just for the record, men also want to be courted. I know it's not a thing that like comes up often.
That's why I'm like, I'm totally okay with paying for a date as well.
Bro,
I'm sorry,
Bro.
man. I could only imagine if a black dude came up and just said, "I want to be courted too." Like,
you
would they not-
sassy. You sassy, Dick.
Yes,
You
zesty.
sassy.
Would they not crucify this cat?
Yeah.
Like, and this dude could say that with a bold face. Let me go back. He could say that with a bold face and laugh, and they didn't look at him crazy. Hold on.
To say, though, just for the record, men also want to be courted. I know it's not a thing that like comes up often.
That's why I'm like, I'm totally okay with paying for a date as well.
No. I'm not going men's rights activist. That's not where I'm going.
Lives matter, man. There are
Yes.
certain roles, and yes, some of it is because of history and the patriarchy, and other are just kind of like what we fall into because there's never going to be true full equality, even though.
Can I say something too? And I'm sorry to keep pausing, but I just noted this. It just dawned on me. Like, they giving the Chinese dude a lot of passes. The Asian dude, Asian dude. I don't know where he's from. The Asian dude a lot of passes. But in some of these Asian cultures, like, if you want to talk about patriarchy, whoa, the patriarchy is still alive and kicking Like I'm talking about complete servitude. Like that woman gotta bow her neck all the way down before they come to this dude. Like, and it's so I just find it. You know what it is? It's there's a perception. I think is more so like the optics of I guess the non-black man as like he's not aggressive or they still are men and they take care of their families. I think that also the financial that's a huge component. Like financially, I think a lot of men from different races are perceived to still be on top. So from that standpoint, they have a lot more wiggle room in how they could communicate with women versus like the black man, where we hear the statistics all the time, like black women are more educated than black women are starting to make more than black men. There's all these statistics that they throw around there, which go ahead.
I'ma just keep it a buck. In this day and age, if you don't have certain money, if you don't have a certain level of money, people will disrespect the shit out of you.
Yeah, facts.
People, and this is the problem. When you look at statistically, Asian men, white men, uh, either black or Hispanics, I think probably black men are probably that at the bottom in terms of finances, right? Maybe they're a little bit more than Hispanic, I forget. But women's desire is towards men that can actually provide money. And the level of disrespect that black men are experiencing is because of these perceptions. It's because of the economic difficulties that we're facing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually was trying to. You see, look. Let me see if I can share this screen. Can you see it? Um, I just typed in, and let me try to
Zoom it
zoom in.
in.
Yeah, let me try to zoom in.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Uh, so statistically, in the United States, Asian men have the highest median earnings and
Mhm.
weekly wages compared to other racial and ethnic groups, consistently out earning
Earning.
white, black, and Hispanic men. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and Pew Research Center indicates that Asian men in 2015 earned roughly $24 per hour compared to $21 for white men. Wow, that's a
You
very
see?
interesting. That's very interesting.
So
So,
this is what I'm saying. Is this like women in 2026, whether they realize it or not, their respect towards men is based on finances.
mm,
And it's done subconsciously. They don't even realize that they've been trained and conditioned to do so.
yeah.
Things like salary, it could definitely be.
Yeah.
So would you go on a second date with someone who asked to split the bill?
I would think about it. It's not a definitive no. Like the 50-50 wouldn't be the decisive factor in me being like, oh, you know what? I may or may not consider it.
For me personally, like, no.
No. That would be a red flag.
Yeah, first date, no.
It's like a phenomenal
Oh
date.
man.
Like
So
it's
wait,
a
so
great
like
guy.
lovely, amazing date, right?
Like
Yeah.
love of your life. You're literally like, this is the one.
Like you're like,
The reason why I'm not mad at that is because if he's asking you to go on a date and then he asks you to split the bill, that's crazy because somebody asks you to go on the date. Granted, yes, you could say no, but usually in that moment you
Yeah,
probably
you're
feel
right.
like you get supported. So I would think the guy or whoever asks should possibly be willing to pay.
Chef's
The
kiss.
one.
And then at the end, he's like,
let's split because this is how. Because he
like, you
thinks
see how
how
he
it
said
is.
it? You see how it sounded? You see how it sounded? Like
I can
immediately, my brain has turned off. I don't like him anymore.
Off-putting, but would
And it's
you be
okay
like, oh, you know
to
what?
like
not-
what you
not-
want.
Wait, is that how you asked, Joey? You never
No,
answered
no,
my
no,
question.
never.
I actually want to know, like, how do you ask that? Because I've never even experienced that, so I don't know.
Before the date.
I also think cultural context matters.
Absolutely.
So
expand.
I will. So I am Nigerian American.
Oh.
So culturally, there's an understanding that the man usually pays for like things like the first date.
Everything.
Right? Yeah. So that's also what I've grown up with.
Yeah.
And like if I'll date like other Nigerian guys or even just like maybe West African as well, that cultural norm is already set in there.
Yeah.
So that's why. So when I say, like, when you ask me, would I date someone that asks me to go 50-50? This is if somebody that within my culture asked me to go 50-50, then I would say no, because it's already a cultural norm. So that's how I know that's a red flag, because what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Now, if he, no, there's no situation.
Yeah.
There's no
Tried to give it a chance
There's
for
no
a second,
situation.
and then thought of
So
it
now, if I was someone like Joa, right? I know Joa's peoples, all right? They're really good, and there's no stereotype. She's certainly Joa. No, like, Asians are really great with money. I love it.
Oh, so you're really just looking at this man as a piggy bank. See, and it's nothing wrong with that. It goes down to how logical the guy is. But to now just say that, oh, it's based on more money, probably not the physical appeal or whatnot. But I mean, a lot of women kind of feel like this sometimes. They usually don't say it. But I want to hear what else she has to say.
Am I wrong?
No, that's fair.
No, y'all are really great. Like, really, really great with money. So now, if someone like Joa came along and said, you know, something, maybe let's say we met on a dating app, and it's the first thing you bring up to me, or like, you know, within conversation, because I usually do a FaceTime date if I'm like from a dating app. So let's say we're on FaceTime and then he brings it up like, hey, just so you know, like, I would like if we can maybe either do something that's like, you know, maybe a walk in the park, or if we do go out, I would like to split just to manage costs and stuff. I'd be like,
No, she wouldn't.
okay, I can't really.
All right, I gotta call that out. I gotta call that out. That's sad, because the guy's making more money so he can get away with being cheaper, but you expect a person that makes less money to spend more.
Because of culture.
Nah, it's cap. It's cap. But because you gotta think about it, like you as, and I don't want to make it like a male or female thing. I just think as a partner in general, right? Like you should be, yeah, it's a first date, so you know how far down the road you thinking, that's subjective, right? But just generally speaking, like it doesn't matter about the person's finances. Fundamentally, you should be trying to help the person elevate. Like you shouldn't be trying to be a liability, especially not in the beginning, right? Like you want to come across as an asset. If you're a liability, meaning that this person is just another expense, then it's like, what are we even building, right? So I can't understand that culturally you accept the dude that statistically makes more money than any other race in America to pay less because they good with money. And the person that's not good with money, you're not going to try to help them with their finances? Or you're already not good with money, so I want you to spend more. How does that?
my brother. Listen. The logic is not logicking right now.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. The thing is, and what we need to admit is that a lot of women change their standards for other people. It's that simple. Is this women change their standards when it suits them, when it's convenient for them, when they want to be accepted by certain groups of people. You see, so you have one cultural standard for yourself, but now you're willing to take a L for another group of people.
So in other words, it's not a standard then, and I think that's fundamentally the problem. It's not a It's not something that's a go-to that you can say this is definitively a rule that I follow. It's not.
This is why so much men have difficulty with understanding women, and this is why I hate to say it, this is why men have created their own space to call out the inconsistencies with women, because it is a double standard. It's hypocrisy.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, and I don't mean to be long-winded, but it's just like even amongst the panel, right? I noticed that a lot of the women didn't even agree. Some of them, like the white lady right there, right? I don't know if you can see my mouse. The white lady said, "I actually don't mind being courted the first date." You know what I'm saying? This one's talking about the patriarchy. This one is just like, oh, culturally, you know, it's all a mixed bag. Like there is no consistency in terms of what they agree upon. Do you like being courted or not? That's all it boils down to. And I don't know, why would anybody complain? Why would you complain? If the person wants to spend their money on you, let them spend their money on you. Why it got to be about patriarchy? Can't it just be a nice gesture?
Guess what? The black dude been quiet the whole time. He said, "Yo, I don't mind paying." That's it. And then, and he just left it at that.
Yeah.
You didn't hear him speak again.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Versus like
No, you continue.
finding out when you're
When I'm on the
yeah,
date,
yeah, I think that makes a huge
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, before. I would
'Cause you
say
didn't know
if
what
you're
you
a
were getting
man, you would
into.
have to say
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I can make a decision. I'd be like, okay, maybe I'm
That sounds good on camera, but I don't believe that she would actually agree to it. Still, women on dating apps are like on steroids because they get so many doggone options. They really just weaning out all the bad apples. So anything that would possibly give them an inclination to think about something, they probably just gonna swipe. And I think if a guy was to bring that up that early on, they would probably swipe because they're like, oh, no, I don't like that already.
not.
Okay.
But yeah, if I get to the end of the date and you're a black man and you tell me to split, I'm not talking to you ever again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Do you feel like that's
Wow.
a bit too much to put on to culture, like solely?
Well, okay, so in the context
She's a
where I'm like,
black
okay,
man.
maybe someone of a different race poses that idea to me, and I'm, if let's say somebody
Hold on. Now she about to get herself in trouble because I think she said that if you're black, she would definitely eliminate. But I think if she's expounding, if it's another race, she's gonna give a pass. Let's see.
was within my culture also posed that idea to me from the beginning, would I be open to it? Because to your point, like people are different. Like I'm also Nigerian American, so I didn't grow up in Nigeria, right? I grew up in America, so there's also that type of
She nervous.
context, that informs my decisions and how I make choices.
She talking too much.
It's okay to have.
I just like I'm just a girl. Like I'm tired of being independent. I want to be wined and dined. I'm not asking for too much.
Yes.
It'll be
would
less
you
than
ever-
$50.
And it's okay.
The first date
Yes.
is FaceTime, then
This is probably like a third date, right?
Exactly, and then I will
Yeah.
gladly, if we continue on, I don't mind,
Yeah.
splurging on you and making you feel
She
like
cooked
a
herself.
king that he probably is. But it's
She just admitted that the men of her culture, she has different standards on them than men outside of her culture. That's what she got at about the Asian guy explaining about how he has money. And if he was to say that he wanted to go 50-50, then she would think about it and would possibly be okay. But she said if more of a black man were to do it, she would not agree to it, which is crazy. And that lets you know what they say about how a lot of black women feel about black men sometimes, not all. But the ones outside the culture get more of a pass on being more average and regular, opposed to the ones in the culture. You have to be phenomenal. You have to be above and beyond to make her fancy tickle. But once she's ready to leave outside of the culture, it's okay with her kind of dropping the standards somewhere or just accepting certain things. The dress code. Oh, he's white. Oh, he dressed like that. They don't dress like the brothers do. But if the brother dressed like that, oh, this is weird. He shouldn't be doing that. That's crazy as hell to me.
like,
Yeah.
so we're there.
Yeah, no, that was well said. I honestly couldn't say any better. Like and it's so sad 'cause I can't stand the race. You know me, bro. I try to give passes. I hate the race card. But when you got people openly saying things like this, then it's just like, damn, you really just made black man look so bad. Like you literally just said you would not accept 50-50 from a black man if he was to introduce that prior to the first date. So it's just like, how are we as a people ever gonna build together if you expecting a higher quality from our people? And and what does that say about other people if they because they listening to this? This is the thing that I wish these women would understand. Every time they go on TikTok, every time you open your mouth on Instagram, on YouTube, you literally like you allowing the whole world to know how you think as a collective, and people are taking notes. So now you got a bunch of, I won't call out any particular race, but you got a bunch of other races like, oh, okay, so black women will accept less from us. We don't gotta have a certain standard. I could dress weird. I could do 50-50. Well, okay, fine. If that's what you guys are saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
You
Go
know,
ahead, bro.
I hate to say this, but the fact that you brought it up, that other groups of men are looking at this and they're taking notes. This is how a lot of black women get taken advantage of when they go outside of their race. Did you know recently a Russian man got kicked out of Africa? Guess why?
wasn't he taking like all the women or something?
He was sleeping with mad women, posting it online,
Yeah.
the most intimate parts of their lives, going from country to country in Africa. And, black men called out the women, but women reversed that somehow and said, oh, it's because it's your fault that we're in the situation that we're in. So you see the double standards. You see the double standards. This is a lot of women will leave their countries, go to Europe, Dubai, America.
A lot of women or a lot of black women?
A lot of African women, even black women in America. Their standards are different. Their standards are different. Before, when you was watching anime, you mad corny. Another group of people could do it. Oh, that's he's cute. He's got his hobbies. So, yo, I'm telling you, yo, can you imagine a black when you didn't wear the fat, the stuff that black, like the, how would I say, the trendy clothes, whatever it is. Yo, you got no drip. You got no drip. You got no style. But when other races do it, economic. He's frugal. He's frugal.
No,
Guess what? Billionaires. Have you noticed that white billionaires? So a lot of them, when they go to these events, they don't even dress up that crazy. They just dress up normal. Look at Steve Jobs. Look at Bill Gates. Look at all these Jeff Bezos. They dress mad regular.
It's very performative for black people. It's like you have to be a constant walk-in entertainer, and when you want to come home to just relax, you thought if there's any place I could relax, it would be home, and you find out that you still got to keep the makeup on, you still got to have the suit, and you got to juggle that ball, you got to balance on that. You know what I'm saying? You got to jump through the fire ring. Even in your own home, you got to be a walk-in.
Now, don't get me wrong. Not all black women are like this, but
It's never all.
But the thing is, though, it's getting to a point where it's becoming a stereotype because we see it constantly in movies, in books, and podcasts. It's on the internet. It's a constant pattern that's being repeated over and over and over again.
Precisely.
Or not that.
But you see, that's because if you do the FaceTime date, does that not count as the first date?
No.
Because isn't that a free first date?
No, that's a pre-screening.
Gotcha.
It is.
Well, I think that's why.
Yeah, it really is.
I think that's why I think that because that first date should be like that pre-screening of I want to see who you are before I decide if we even want to try to date.
Facts.
I think in this day and age, for me at least, the pre-screening is like the FaceTime call, and then the first
Zoom interview.
It is.
And then the first in-person meetup is technically it is also kind of like a pre-screening as well, which is why you don't want to spend that much money. You want maybe to do something like a walk in the park or something.
But eventually down the line, you are open to splitting or you pay. It's just that first.
That's not what she said. That's not what she said.
I'm asking, or not.
No, yeah, eventually.
On his birthday, maybe. I'm sorry, I'm putting words in your mouth.
And it's okay to have what you like.
At some point, for sure.
That's your business.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, if love isn't
I think I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to this brother over here because it was his platform. His name is JB Reacts. So I'm glad he reacted to this. But is there any closing remarks, James?
Man, I can't say I'm speechless. It's just I have no words, man. I just no words. I think we said it all. We saw people see the video, they see the double standards, they see, my son could get away with murder.
Man, I'm thoroughly disappointed, bro. I'm thoroughly disappointed because again, I hate when I have to admit certain things regarding race or gender and all that stuff. Like I try to really give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but she literally said it out of her own mouth without no coercion. And they asked her to justify it, and she doubled down. And the fact that she said black men, she said that actually came out her mouth. And it's just like, wow. So you literally now you called out the race. Like at least the other girls had some wherewithal, you know what I mean? Like they were just trying to say men just in general, but she said black men, and it's just like, wow. It's it's sad because you're right. That black dude, he spoke once and never again. And I think a lot of brothers are starting to act just like that. Like they saying what they say. You don't rock with them. They just opting out. They done. I love that gesture. They're washing their hands when it comes to the dating because they're realizing that there's nothing I'm gonna say that's gonna really change their mindset. Or and mind you, he didn't even say he was against it. He just said that I'm willing to pay for the first date, right? It's not like he stamped and said this has to be this way. He didn't even remotely hint at 50-50. He didn't even remotely hit at 50-50. And they came at him, you know, and all this
That's
talk
the
about patriarchy.
patriarchy.
Yeah, all this talk about patriarchy, and it's just like, and mind you, where's that talk from that white girl said that she don't mind it. That white girl says she don't mind the guy paying for it. What happened to the patriarchy? How come they didn't come at her and say that? Oh, but you just upholding the patriarchy. You see, the thing that's sad, that girl at the end said it. Oh, it's okay to like what you like. Why can't you apply that to everybody then? If the guy likes to pay for you, let him pay for you.
Mhm.
And if it was such a big deal, if you really such against the patriarchy, I don't see any girls offering to say, oh no, don't you do that. I'll go 50-50. In the process of the guy paying, stop him. If it's such a huge deal for you, you could easily stop him. Oh no, 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 I'll pay for my half. I'm sure a guy would love that. He'll probably be like,
She's a
"Yo,
keeper.
she's
What?
a keeper." Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say, bro.
But a
Um,
bunch of hypocrites in this world, man. I'm telling you. And you know what? I think we have to take that into consideration as human beings. A lot of us, right?
mhm,
We want the easy life. We want the easy route.
mhm.
We gladly, it's hard for us to stop ourselves from applying double standards. It takes a real genuine person who actually examine themselves to be like, nah, I'm not gonna rock like this. This standard is for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like it takes a very quality individual for them to actually have their standards for everybody. That's difficult.
To be unbiased,
To be
all,
unbiased,
all across the board, that might be
yes.
acting too much for some individuals, man.
But this is why I said is this like women want equality. Fine, I get that. You want to be treated equally, human rights, all of that stuff. But you can't complain about the patriarchy and still want the blessings of it.
Soft
You
girl
should be
life.
you should want to reject that. You should want to like no no paying on the first date. Everything is 50-50, even on bills, even on groceries, even on the rent, right? You work outside, you work too, right?
No expectation of
Everything.
opening the door for you or scooting the chair for you.
Exactly.
It-
None of
I
that.
mean, and I think that's sad. I think that's sad, honestly. Like, if that's really what y'all want, that's not what they want, though. But you see, this is what I'm noticing. Maybe to truly land the plane, the equality starts and ends at finances. I just want to get paid the same way. Once we start leaving money, you start realizing that you really don't want all that as much as you claim that you do. Like
Mhm.
you don't mind the guy doing the grunt work. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Shoveling the snow outside for you,
yeah.
putting
That
salt on the ground for you. lifting up groceries for you, carrying your bag for you.
Yeah.
This is why people get mad at Dave Chappelle, but I think he said it best. Women killed chivalry. They killed it.
All right, man. With that being said, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment down below, do all that YouTube stuff. Hype the video as well.
Hype
And
it
with that,
up.
and with that being said, Nick James over and out. Jesus is King, y'all.
Subscribe.